Hello, all. Can you hear me? Hello. Yeah, okay. You can see my screen, right? Okay, we will go fast. I have like number of things. I have prepared notes also, but we will see that notes afterwards. So first of all, we will go with what do you say? Paper 24, 25. Okay. Let me know if this is clearly visible or not. Yes. Clearly visible. Hello. Hello. Is this visible or not? Please answer. Okay. First question, water is known as universal solvent because it can dissolve many gases, salts, and sugar in it. That is why it is called universal solvent. Next one, uh, a solution is homogeneous mixture of two or more substances, and reason is the solute in a solution is always in a liquid state. A is true here, R is false. It is not necessary that the solute should always be in a liquid state. It can be gaseous state also. So here A is true, or is false. Dash is the purest form of water. It is a rainwater. And which of the following is not soluble in water? Charcoal. Charcoal is not soluble, whereas the other salt, sugar, copper sulfate, these are all soluble in water. We say those things as water miscible. They can easily mix in water. Sorry. Okay, next. Purification of water must be carried out to remove dash. That is all of these things. To remove the suspended impurities, to remove the gases, to remove the dissolved minerals. Okay. By which of the following methods can common salt be obtained from seawater? That is evaporation. You evaporate and you get the salt from the seawater. Next one is to separate sand and iron fillings from the mixture. What is the method that you will use? You use the method of magnetic separation, because iron fillings they attract to the magnet, and after those attracting, only sand remains. So that kind of separation is called magnetic separation. And next one is which of the following is a mixture? A soft drink is a mixture. Water, sodium, carbon dioxide, these are not mixtures. Soft drink is a mixture because basically it has like water and gas also, CO2. This is the first one. Any doubts in this? Pass, please. Liba, any doubts? Okay, next one. We go to the next one. That is this one. This one, right? This is the second page, right? Okay, with the increase in temperature of water, sorry, solubility of most solid increases with the increase in temperature of water. The first line is not copied, but that line is solubility of most solids increases with increasing temperature of water, and the solubility of most gases decreases with the increasing temperature of water. Opposite. Okay, just remember that one. Which of the following is sublimable in nature? That is ammonium chloride. So what is sublimable? When you are mixing say solid with a liquid and you are heating that solid, then it changes to water vapor, and that water vapor again you are able to, from that water vapor, so it evaporates, and from that you can get back the solid again. So that kind of substance is called sublimable. So in ammonium chloride and sodium chloride, this thing, ammonium chloride is sublimable. This is important. Nitrogen oxide, NO plus O2 gives nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen oxide plus oxygen gives NO2, which is nitrogen dioxide. Next one is that gas is used for process of photosynthesis. This is carbon dioxide. In photosynthesis, what happens? Carbon dioxide plus water gives rise to oxygen and heat and energy. So there is one equation. We will see that equation once again. Who are drawing these lines? I don't know. Now, dash hastens the process of sedimentation. alum. Alum is one substance which hastens the process of sedimentation. Hastens means speeds up. It acts as a catalyst. Sedimentation means it settles down all the impurities at the bottom. So you add that as a catalyst, and that is alum. Next one is gas contains the ozone layer. Ozone layer is contained in the stratosphere. As we have seen, there are three layers: troposphere, stratosphere, and mesosphere. And that ozone is contained in the stratosphere. Next, air is a mixture of gases. Composition of air remains the same at different places. Both statements are correct. The answer is both statements are correct. Next one is type of water caused by chemical plants using large amounts of water. So that pollution is called thermal pollution, because what happens when you are releasing chemicals from water, you are releasing hot water into the water sources. So that is like a thermal pollution, you can say. Next one is solid state of water present on Earth's surface, that is ice. Ice is a solid state of water. The process used to collect rainwater in tanks is called rainwater harvesting. So this is important. What is rainwater harvesting? When you have when the rain comes heavily in the rainy season, what you will do, like you will build some sort of pipes at the top, and through that pipes the water flows and goes and stays there in the tank which is constructed at the bottom of the building. So whenever that water tank is filled, you can again use it. So this kind of technique is called rainwater harvesting. You are not wasting the rainwater, but you utilizing it effectively. So that technique is called rainwater harvesting. Mute, please. The type of plants which contain symbiotic bacteria, that is called leguminous plants. Those type of plants are called leguminous plants. These plants contain the symbiotic bacteria, that is the peas. मटर के जो झाड़ा रखते हैं वो those contains the symbiotic bacteria. So those are called leguminous plants. A process which removes carbon dioxide from air, it is called photosynthesis. Just now I told photosynthesis, what it will do, it will take carbon dioxide, it consumes water and then produces O2 and the other things. So that process is called photosynthesis. Next one, true or false? A mixture shows the properties of all constituents present in it. True or false? True. Well water exists below the impervious rocky layers of air. That is false. It exists above the rocky layers of air. Mixtures have a chemical formula. True or false? False. Mixtures don't have any chemical formula. Water is used in irrigation system. Yes, true. Denitrifying bacteria is converting the organic matter to nitrogen again. So what is nitrifying? Yeah. Denitrifying bacteria, what it does, it takes from the organic matter, it releases the nitrogen back into the atmosphere. So that process is called denitrifying. Nitrifying is when there is a nitrogen in the atmosphere. When rain comes down, it goes down, then that nitrogen is converted to carbonates, and that carbonates, nitric carbonates, it is utilized by plants for their growth. So that is nitrifying, and denitrifying is opposite. From the organic matter, you are releasing the nitrogen. Next one, potable water is that one which is fit for drinking. Sulfur dioxide is, it produces acid rain. When there is sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere and rain comes, it becomes acidic rain. Kerosene stove is burning device. Dysentery is a waterborne disease. Typhoid, cholera, dysentery, gas, gastroenteritis, these are all waterborne diseases. Next one, separation of bran and wheat flour. Use the method of sieving. What is the technique that you used in sieving? The technique is based on the difference of the size of the particles or substances. The bigger gets separated and smaller goes and settles at the bottom. So this technique is called sieving. Clear in this one? Any doubts? Answer anyone please first. Any doubts in this? No. Next one. Is this the next one? Yes. Clearly visible? Yeah. Dash named active component of A. Who named it? Joseph Priestley. John Mayo told that atmosphere contains active and inactive components, and Joseph Priestley told that the active there is a, in air there is an active component, and that is O2. John Priestley, and then Antoine Valois he told that the active component is O2 and the inactive component is N2. So you have to remember these three scientists' names. Definitely one will come. In a ferrous sulfate solution, dash is the solute. Water. Water is water. Yes. And what is the this one? Solvent? No, it is ferrous sulfate. Ferrous sulfate is the solvent and water is the solute. Dash forces come forcefully comes out under pressure from Earth's surface. That is the spring water because of the pressure from the surface of under the surface of the Earth. Yeah, that is spring water. The continuous movement of water from air to atmosphere and back to earth is called water cycle. Good. Seawater contains a high amount of dash in it. Sodium chloride. Good. Next one. What is part one? This is troposphere, then stratosphere, then mesosphere. This is up to 10 kilometers. This is up to 50 kilometers. This is up to 80 kilometers. And from 80 to 320, remaining is atmosphere. Okay, so these are the names. That's all. Next one. Naphthalene and camphor cannot be separated by submission. Because why? Why? Because both are sublime. Yes, good. Good. Next one. Polluted water causes diseases. Why? Yeah, because of presence of harmful germs and bacteria. Nitrogen is filled in food packets. Why? But not oxygen. Why? Yes, because it is inert, it does not react with the food substances. It keeps oxygen out and it keeps the food, whichever that is there inside the packet, fresh. It prevents from spoiling. Because of all these things, nitrogen is used in food packets. This is important. Why we fill food packets with nitrogen but not oxygen? This is important. Next one, there is a balance of oxygen even though it is used by all living beings. Why? Yeah, because most of the plants and trees they release oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. So even though all the living organisms are taking it, there are plants and trees which are producing again. So that's why there is a balance of O2 in the atmosphere. Air has a variable composition. Why? Very good. When it varies from place to place, at higher altitude, the oxygen level is less, and like say at the normal ground level, you have more. But again, at below the sea level, there is again less oxygen. So depending on the place, altitude, all those things, it varies. That's why it has variable composition. Next one, what is PQR? P is O2, P is O2. Yeah. No. R is N2. Sorry. What is this one? P is carbon dioxide, or you can say carbon dioxide or rare gases, and Q is oxygen, and R is nitrogen. Yeah. Next one. Name the active and inactive. Active is O2, inactive is N2. Name any two rare gases present in it, argon, neon. You can say yeah, you can say xenon, radon, krypton. You can also say these things. Name state any two uses of atmospheric gas present in Q. That is oxygen. It helps in breathing for the yeah. It helps. It It helps in the process of respiration for living organisms, that is plants and animals. It helps in combustion. So combustion is when you burn any fossil. So yeah, respiration means breathing. Here you can say respiration also instead of breathing, right? Correct. Next one. What is next one? Not this one, right? The next one is not this one. I think the next one is this one. We'll come back to that one again. Uh, it is clear. Name the method of separation from the diagram A. What method is used? Which principle is used? And what is the principle that you are using? Correct. The solids are removed from the mixture of solids and liquids. And whatever the liquid is there, it evaporates and solid stays there. So next one, name the method that you use in B. Which principle is used? Filtration. Yeah, so when you mix solid and liquid, and that solid is not soluble in water, what you do, you take a funnel and you keep a filter paper in the funnel and you pour that mixture to that funnel. The liquid settles down and that solid stays there in that funnel on the filter paper. So this technique is called filtration. Next one, the same. For the third one is also the same. Chalk powder and water filtration. Fourth one, in diagram B, what is placed inside the funnel? Solid is placed there. Yeah, filtration paper. Correct. Correct. Filtration paper is placed there. And what passes through it is liquid. What happens to the solute given in the diagram A? Yeah, the solute remains after evaporation. Yeah, solute. Yeah, the liquid evaporates and the solute remains there on the correct. Liquid evaporates and yeah, the liquid is lost in the atmosphere and the solute or the solid remains there only. Next one, mixture of, give an example of mixture that can be separated in diagram A. What is that? You can say salt and water, you can say, yeah, so many other things also you can say, but best example is use salt and water. Next one, yeah, this is important. Glucose plus oxygen gives CO2 plus water plus energy. Like living organisms, they take the energy, which is glucose and oxygen, then they release CO2 and water and energy. Okay, this is important equation. Remember it. What is the importance of water vapor in atmosphere? Water, yeah, it causes rainfall. It forms the cloud and it maintains the temperature. Why is argon used in the filament bulb? No, no, no. Filament bulb is not inert. Argon is inert. Organ is inert and it prevents the filament from burning. That is why you use organ in the filament bulb. Yeah? Yes or no? Okay. Name three applications of air. It is used in the O2 cylinders, oxygen cylinders. It can be used while applying brakes in the trains, where you use the compressed air, and it is also used in the vehicles of automobiles, like say, yeah, tires. These are all the applications. These are all, yeah, in cylinder tanks, no, oxygen cylinders for respiration in the hospitals, or like say the astronauts use it, or sea divers when they go inside they use these oxygen cylinders. There are a number of uses of this one. What is greenhouse effect? Yeah, the warming of the earth due to trapping of the heat by the gases released by the automobiles, industries. because they form a thick layer of CO2 in the atmosphere, and this thick layer of CO2, this prevents the heat radiation. As a result, the global temperature of the earth increases, and this effect is called greenhouse effect. Clear? Next, combustion. What is combustion? Burning of substance. Burning of substance in O2 gives rise to heat and energy, heat and light. This process, this reaction is called combustion. In combustion, when you are burning any fossil fuels in the presence of O2, it gives heat and light. This is called combustion. Next one. What is the role of infrared and UV rays in the sun? The infrared rays, which you say IR rays and UV rays, these heats up the Earth's atmosphere. They make the Earth's surface warm. Infrared rays and UV rays, because these contains like harmful rays. There is a layer of ozone above in the atmosphere, and this absorbs that harmful rays and it radiates out to the thin layer of CO2. So this is the role of infrared and ultraviolet rays. Clear? Not getting any response. What is saturated solution? A solution in which no more solute can dissolve. You cannot dissolve more of the solute at a given temperature. That is called the saturated solution. A solution in which no more solute can dissolve at a given temperature and pressure is called saturated solution. That is the answer. Why is distilled water not considered potable? Why? Because the distilled water lacks dissolved minerals and salts. So when this distilled water is consumed directly, we get like a kind of dehydration because there are no salts, there are no minerals in it, and our body loses all these things. So it is not good to consume the distilled water. That is the answer, because it lacks dissolved minerals and salt. So here they will ask, they will give this picture and they will ask, what is this one? This is sedimentation tank where the solid settle down at the bottom. Then it is moved to the filtration tank where there is a sand and gravel. The water passes through it. And from filtration tank, it goes to chlorination tank where you apply chlorine and bleach and you kill the germs and bacteria. Finally, it goes to overhead tank and from there it comes to our houses. So you have to mention this A, B, C, and what are the chemicals added in chlorination tank? That is chlorine and bleaching. Why the household methods? What are the household methods to purify drinking water? That is, you need to boil the water. Yeah, you need to boil the water, and if possible, you need to filter that water using some filters that are available in the market. Next one, what process takes place in B? That is filtration. Clear with this one? Yes or no? Please answer. Okay, we go to the next one. That is this one. Previous paper 23, 23, 24. Intermingling of molecules is called diffusion. Just remember that answer. Intermingling of molecules is called diffusion. Dash on heating directly turns into vapor, that is naphthalene. And here sublimation occurs. Naphthalene on heating directly turns into vapor. Dash is an aqueous solution. Aqueous solution is like water solution. It's sodium carbonate plus water. Like say in the soft drink, you mix some gas and then water, that becomes like aqueous solution. Sodium carbonate and water is called aqueous solution. Water is in dash state between 0 to 100 degrees. Who can tell this? Liquid state. Good. Dash is released into the air as a result of burning. What is released? Carbon dioxide. Because much of CO2 is released, it forms a thick layer of CO2 above the atmosphere layer, and as a result, the UV rays are not getting radiated out. As a result, the overall Earth's temperature warms up, heats up, it increases, and this is called greenhouse effect. Next, dash gas is highly soluble in water. That is hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride, good. Water generates dash in boilers in industrial application. Electricity. Dash dissolves in water. Copper sulfate. Lime water is a solution of, yeah, calcium hydroxide solution is called lime water. Remember it. And here one important question is, how do you test the presence of CO2 in the atmosphere? What happens when the lime water is calcium hydroxide. When the carbon dioxide mixes with this lime water, which is calcium hydroxide, then like it turns into white color. So that white color, turning of lime water into white color, it indicates the presence of CO2. So here you need to remember that lime water is nothing but calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice. This you can learn in the higher classes. Dash is a radioactive in nature. Which one? Radon. The name itself is there. Radio, RAD, radon. In that sense, you can remember. Next one. I think this is the, yeah, this one. Oops, increase this one. Is this visible? Clear? Clearly visible. Nitric oxide plus oxygen gives nitrogen dioxide. Next one. The study of Earth's atmosphere is called aerology. Okay, the study of Earth's atmosphere is called aerology, or there is one more term for it. I don't remember. Anybody remember? The study of Earth's atmospheric science. Very good. Atmospheric science or aerology. Condensation is changing of dash. Yeah, gaseous state to liquid state. Next one. Cohesive forces are negligible in. That is gases. Cohesive forces means those forces which stick to each other. The molecules stick to each other. That is more in solids, less in liquids, and very negligible in gases. Dash expand most on heating. Gases expand most on heating. That is, yeah. A chemical used during chlorination of water. Chlorine, you have to say. Chlorine or bleaching. Yeah, anyone you can tell. Chlorine. Next one is forces of attraction between particles of matter. That is called intermolecular attraction. It is there. Yeah. Next one. You can omit the next one. Third one. Fourth one is solution of a source of water present above the impervious rocky layer is the well water. Well water or spring water is the source of water present above the rocky layers of earth. The product formed when phosphorus burns in air is the phosphorus pentoxide. Yeah, phosphorus pentoxide is a product that is formed when phosphorus is burned in air. So what happens? This phosphorus pentoxide is white in color. So when phosphor is mixed with O2, it becomes phosphor pentoxide. It turns into white. So we can say that oxygen is present in the air. This is another one you have to remember. One with the CO2 and one with the O2. CO2 with the lime water and oxygen with the phosphor plus oxygen. Phosphorus pentoxide. Next one. Chlorine gas is a strong irritating odor considered chemical property. True or false? False. It is false. Because odor is not a chemical property. All right. It is not a chemical. Water from rivers and lakes is potable. True or false? False. Oxygen in the air is renewed by photosynthesis. Helium has a low boiling point. True. Ozone layer is present in mesosphere. Where is it present? Where is it present? Yeah, stratosphere. Good. Next one. Air is F. No chemical formula. There is no chemical formula for air. And fuel is coal. You have to match with coal. Food packaging, nitrogen. Just now we discussed. Waterborne disease is dysentery, cholera, typhoid, all these things, waterborne disease. And solid seas, particles move in their own position. Good. Next one. This is this one. The experiment which we told just now. Here you send air which contains CO2. There is a lime water which is calcium hydroxide. Then the this one comes out. So here it says that state why air is sucked out of outlet B only, but not from A. Tell anybody? Hmm. Then what happens? Lime water will not come. When the air comes into tube A, it mixes with lime water, then bubbles are formed, and from these bubbles, gases are released, and through this B, it comes out. Because through A, it cannot come out because it's already there in the lime water. Okay, so it cannot come out through A, it will come out through B. That is what you have to say. Detailed explanation. State why air is sucked slowly from outlet B. Anybody? No, no. The question is why air is sucked slowly from outlet B? Because it will allow sufficient time for the carbon dioxide to react with the air in water. Because it will allow sufficient time for the carbon dioxide to react slowly in water. Next one is this one. State the observation seen after completion of the experiment. What happens? Lime water turns milky. State the reason for the above observation. Just now I told. In air there is CO2. When it reacts with lime water, calcium carbonate is formed, and this is like turns into white color, milky color. And this is the reason why, because of calcium carbonate, it turns into milky or the white color. Name the component which is present in air as a pollutant would have given similar observation. The answer is sulfur dioxide. When the air contains sulfur dioxide, it reacts with the lime water and it turns into white liquid. So the answer is sulfur dioxide. Color, odor, taste are dash properties of a substance. Physical. Melting point of ice is boiling point 100 degrees. Dash has a definite volume. Solids and liquids. Sorry, solid. Liquids also have. Liquids also have. Both solids and liquids, not solids. Water covers dash of Earth's surface. Yes, dash is the most impure form of water, seawater, because it contains high concentration of salts. What is atmosphere? Atmosphere is the layer of gases surrounding the air. Atmosphere is nothing but the layer of gases surrounding the air. Explain the importance of atmosphere for survival of mankind. So all the living organisms, humans, they require oxygen for breathing or respiration, and that is present in the atmosphere. In this way, the atmosphere is important for the survival of mankind. That is what you have to say. Say the basic function of stratosphere. Anybody? Hmm? Ozone layer, it contains ozone layer, and this ozone layer prevents the UV rays from reaching the air. So that is the function of stratosphere. Next one, three properties of air. Air occupies space, air has mass, and air exerts pressure. These three properties you have to say. Air occupies space, air has mass, air exerts pressure. Air has no definite property, give reason, because air is a mixture and mixture does not have any definite property. Air is a mixture, mixture does not have any definite properties, so air does not have definite properties. Sugar can be distinguished from talcum powder using water. How? Correct. But the talcum powder cannot dissolve. Explain why water is considered universal solvent. One, 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 one. Tell me one, please. Sorry. Yeah, tell somebody's telling. Yes. Yeah, since you say just simple, since it dissolves almost every substance, it is called universal solvent. Okay, next one. Why water droplets are formed on the surface of the tumbler? Why? Containing ice. Because when water vapor that is coming from the ice, like when it is melting, it touches the cold surface of the tumbler, it loses heat and it forms droplets on the surface. So that is why the droplets are formed on the tumbler. Utility of oxygen in living organisms. Yeah, all the living organisms take oxygen and they have the glucose. They break down this glucose in presence of oxygen and they produce CO2 and water and energy. So that is the utility of oxygen. Okay. Role of symbiotic bacteria in leguminous plants. So the symbiotic bacteria present in leguminous plant, they take nitrogen from atmosphere. Yeah, very good. These symbiotic bacteria converts N2 from the atmosphere to nitrates, and this is then absorbed by the plants, and these nitrates are used for the plant growth. So this is important reaction. Fuel plus oxygen. Okay, name three different appliances where air is used. You can tell the tires, applying of brakes, cylinders, oxygen cylinders. You can tell. Fuel plus oxygen gives CO2 plus water plus energy. This is what just now we have seen. Fuel plus oxygen gives CO2 plus water plus energy. State what would happen if the air above the earth mainly contains oxygen and no nitrogen. What happens? What happens? Tell anybody. Hello. उधर ज्वाइन करो वापस इधर नहीं आता रे वो होस्ट का लॉगिन करना है जाना प्लीज ज्वाइन Hello, hello, can you hear me? Okay, good. You can see my screen, right? You can see my screen, right? Yes or no, please? Okay. So here, what would happen if the air above the earth contain only oxygen, no nitrogen? What would happen if the air above earth contains only oxygen, no nitrogen? The answer is life would cease to exist. It will stop to exist because and the earth becomes uninhabitable. No living organisms can live on the earth because when there is all the living organisms like they need oxygen, and without that oxygen and CO2 there will be no life on the earth, so it will stop to exist. So here A is sedimentation, B is filtration, and C is chlorination. Any doubts in this? Any doubts? No. Next one. See this one, the last one. I mean, after this, we try to see the worksheets. So here, R is nitrogen, Q is oxygen, and P is the rare gases. Carbon dioxide plus dash gives in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll dash plus oxygen. What is 1 and 2? What is 1? 1 is water and 2 is, yeah, 2 you can say glucose, or glucose you can say, glucose plus oxygen. 1 is water. Why is argon used in the filament bulbs? Correct. Because argon is inert and it will not burn the filament bulb. So that is why it is used in the filament bulb. It is a rare gas. Explain the role of carbon dioxide in warming the Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, if there is so much, if there is so much CO2 in the atmosphere, global warming occurs. Yes, that is the answer. Why is troposphere? Yeah, yes, correct. Good. Why is troposphere suitable for living beings? Why is troposphere suitable for living beings? You can see my screen, right? This is the last question. This question I am asking. Why? Yeah, yeah. Favorable weather conditions are formed in the troposphere, and it contains a, oxygen, which is used for by all the living organisms. So that is why troposphere is suitable for living beings. What is the importance of water vapor in atmosphere? Just now we discussed clouds are formed, rains will fall, and it maintains the temperature. Okay, that is the answer. Give any two reasons as to why water should be purified. Yeah, if we don't drink purified water, we get waterborne diseases such as cholera, typhoid. Yeah, we get all these diseases. That is why we need to purify the water. Why is distilled water not considered potable? Yeah, it lacks the salts and minerals, and when this is like consumed, all the salts and minerals are lost, and because of this, you don't consume the distilled water. That is why distilled water is not potable. What is acid rain? Acid rain is when sulfur is present in the air and it mixes with the rain that is falling out. Then it turns to like acidic, like sulfur dioxide. It mixes and it forms. So acid is formed there, and that rain comes, which is called the acid rains. So you have to do some research on this, and you have to write this one. When sulfur is present in the air and it mixes with the rain, then we get the acid rain. Name any sources of water on Earth's surface. Yeah. Yeah. Snow and frost, that is solid. Then you have rivers. Then you have lakes. Then you have seas and oceans. These are the sources of water. Apart from this, there are wells and spring waters. These are all sources of waters. Right? We use, yeah, bore water means well water. Right? Two uses of water in our daily lives. Yeah, water is used for cooking. Water is used for bathing. Water is used in the, like say in the agriculture, for the plants, because of all these things. And from water we generate electricity, which is called hydroelectricity. These are all the uses of water. What is water cycle? Water cycle means, see, in the oceans you have water. When the earth heats up, that water evaporates and goes up. Then it forms the clouds, and when these clouds mix together and it is too much heavy, again the rain occurs. Rain comes down and then it flows into streams and rivers, and from rivers it goes back again to the ocean. And this process repeats again. This entire thing is called water cycle. Clear? Yes or no? Yes. Three characteristics of potable water. Very good. Potable water should be clean. No, no, no. That much not needed. Just say clear. Just say the potable water should be clear. It should be colorless. It should be odorless, and there should be no germs or bacteria in it. These are the three characteristics of potable water. So, what is solute? The solute is a substance that dissolves in the solvent. Yeah. Yes, correct. Solute is the substance that dissolves or disappears in the solvent. For example, in sodium chloride solution, sodium chloride is a solute. Then what is solvent? Any medium, whether it can be liquid or it can be gas. It is not only necessary liquid. Any medium in which the solute dissolves, that is called solvent. For example, in sodium chloride solution, that sodium chloride is a solute and that water is the solvent, because this water dissolves that solute, so it is called the solvent. Any medium in which the solute dissolves to form a solution is called the solvent. And solution is homogeneous mixture of solute and the solvent is called the solution. Clear? What is saturated solution? Yeah, saturated solution is that solution in which no more solute can dissolve at a given temperature. That is a saturated solution. An unsaturated solution is that solution in which more of the solute can dissolve at a given temperature. You can dissolve more of the solute at a given temperature in the solution, and that solution is called unsaturated solution. And solubility is how much of the solute it can dissolve in the liquid or the medium is called the solubility. Okay, clear? Next, write down the ways to stop water pollution. How do you stop? Sorry, you tell water recycling in industries, first one, and construction of dams as the second one. Yes, correct. They told three only. So you can tell water recycling is the first one, construction of dams is the second one, and drip irrigation is the third one. You can tell just three. Okay, these are the three ways to. Sorry, how you stop water pollution? What I told is water conservation. Sorry, how do you stop water pollution? Correct. Yeah, good. You just say three. First one is the harmful waste from the industries should not be allowed to mix into the rivers. That is the first one. And the second one is like you should not do like household activities like bathing, cooking, washing clothes. These things you should not do at the rivers because it will pollute the water. And the third thing is the human excreta or the drainage, the waste that is coming from the households, it should not mix with the water resources. In these three ways, you can stop water pollution. State a reason why there is a balance in amount of carbon dioxide in air. So there is a balance of carbon dioxide because the plants during the process of photosynthesis, they consume like the CO2 released by human beings, and they release oxygen, and which is again used by the living beings. In this way, like there is a balance of carbon dioxide, like mutually dependent. Animals and plants, like living organisms, they release CO2, and that CO2 is consumed by plants, and they release O2, and that O2 is released by the human beings or the living organisms. Mutually dependent. In this way, there is a balance of CO2. Give reasons. Water freezing turns into ice. Why? Because when water on freezing, what happens? All the molecules, like they come together, and it becomes a solid. The movement between the molecules is very less, and the space also very becomes less, so it turns into ice. A bottle of perfume on opening evolves a fragrance which can be sensed over long distance because of gases are they spread very fast, and because of this they spread over long distances. So shall we see this worksheet? Yes or no? Answer fast, please. Yes. Assertion: most weather changes occurs in troposphere. Troposphere contains most of air and water. Both are true. Yeah, separation method used for separating ammonium chloride and sodium chloride. Sublimation. Rina observed that. Yeah, good. Rina observed the clouds, rain, water, wind near Earth's surface where people bring oxygen for survival. Which layer of atmosphere is responsible for this condition? Troposphere. A, a leak-proof syringe filled with air is taken, and on pressing the piston, the syringe, the piston of the syringe, the piston moves inwards. Why? The answer is this one, because air is a gas and gas molecules have large space between them, and gases are highly compressible. So when that piston is moved, it moves inside freely. Next one is this one. Inactive component in air is, what is that one? Nitrogen. The most impure form of water, seawater. A mixture is a impure substance. True or false? True. On boiling, water exists in liquid state. False. Waterborne disease. Cholera, not chloria, cholera. Liebig condenser is distillation. Okay. What is A here? Plug, cotton plug. Next, what is B and C? What is that process? State what is happened. What do you mean by conservation of water? Preventing wastage of water is called conservation of water. Yeah. Combustion process with word equation means fuel plus O2 gives CO2 plus water plus heat plus energy. This heat plus energy is called combustion, because heat and energy are released while burning the fuel, and this is called combustion. Next one. What is the role of infrared rays and UV rays? They increase the temperature of the earth. Yeah, UV rays absorbed by ozone and infrared rays increase the temperature of the earth. Name any two ways water vapor is released in air. Correct. Give any two reasons why air is a mixture. Air is not universal solvent. Water is universal solvent. Sorry. Yeah, air does not have chemical formula, and air can be, they can be separated by physical means. And because of all these things, it is a mixture. What is unsaturated solution that we have seen? A solution that cannot dissolve. Yeah, a solution that cannot dissolve. Correct. A solution that can dissolve more of a solute at a given temperature is called unsaturated solution. Three characteristics of potable water: colorless, odorless, good taste, and free from bacteria. Why is seawater not suitable for agriculture? Because it contains high concentration. They dehydrate the plants because of this. Next one, state the principles of method of sieving. That is a separation of substances based on their size. Sulfur and coal cannot be separated by magnetic separation because both are non-magnetic. Yes, both are non-magnetic. End product of respiration. Yeah, so you have to tell CO2 plus water plus energy, because those are the end products. On the right hand side, whatever are there, those are the end products. Explain the role of symbiotic bacteria in leguminous plants. They take N2 nitrogen from the air and then they convert it into nitrates. This nitrates is used by the plants for their growth. So this is the role of symbiotic bacteria. Next one. Assertion. Lime water turns milky when carbon dioxide is passed. Carbon dioxide reacts with calcium hydroxide to form insoluble calcium carbonate. Answer. Both are true. Next one. Rare or inert gases form less than 1% of air, and rare gases, helium, neon, are chemically inert. Both are true. Next one. Ria learned that plants respire through tiny processes on their leaves, and while oxygen is also necessary for burning fuel. And what is this called? Respiration. Name the process which involves chemical reaction of this one is fuel plus O2 gives CO2 plus water plus energy. Just now we saw that one. Next one, this one. Example of immiscible mixture: oil and water. Yeah, oil and chalk powder because they don't mix easily. Method used for settling down by gravity is sedimentation. Seawater contains salts of calcium and magnesium too. Components of air cannot be separated by physical means, that is false. Vaporization is converting liquid to gas, and camphor and potassium chloride are sublimable. Sublimation. Next one. This is muddy water. The mud comes here, clear water comes here. What is the process that is used? Decantation. Example of mixture in which in this one is mud water. That is a mixture. What are the uses of air in oxygen? O2 cylinders in oxygen deficient places. What is the role of identifying bacteria in atmosphere? Sorry, what is the role of denitrifying bacteria? Denitrifying bacteria, I told no just now, they converts the nitrates back to oxygen. That process is called denitrifying. Next one. The diagram below represent this we have seen already. Why air is sucked out? This we have seen. Why air is sucked out slowly to allow sufficient time for CO2 to react. Observation seen is the lime water turns milky. State the reason for the above observation. Calcium carbonate is formed. Because when CO2 reacts with calcium hydroxide, calcium carbonate is formed, and that is in white color. Name another component which present, that is sulfur dioxide. One word for photosynthesis: CO2 plus water. Plants consume CO2, they use water. In the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they produce glucose and oxygen. How does atmosphere play an important role in survival of mankind? Because of all this. They provide O2 for respiration, they protect the earth from UV radiation and meteors. Meteors is the one that is done by the mesosphere from 50 to 80. Two ways of conserving water: rainwater harvesting and recycling of water. Correct. Next one, the last one. Yeah, the last one. What is this one? Effect. That is a greenhouse effect. Rays. Yeah, IR and UV. Name the sources of pollution contributing towards harmful effect. Uh, right. Composition of air. So you have to draw the diagram in a circle which shows that N2 has 78 to 79%, O2 21%, and the other rare gases has less than 1%. Next one. Three properties of air. Air occupies space, air has mass, air exerts pressure, and air is a mixture of gases. Saturated solution, these all answers. Yeah, good. The answers are here, you can see. So I think with this we covered all. Yes or no? Yes? Answer please, anyone. Did we cover all? Okay, I will stop here and I will upload. Yeah, I will stop here and I will upload this video. Just go through. Bye. Bye. We'll meet again tomorrow if possible.